Madam Deputy Speaker. I want to go, we're just listening to the member for Barton. She spoke properly about people who've missed out on super and people who don't know their super hasn't been paid. And in line with that, I'd like to talk about people who have paid their super and have had it stolen. And that is one of the big issues that are before us today. I want to read from a letter from a Paul Chiobo back in the 24th of March 2022, where he referred to a superannuation fund called Falcon, or associated with Falcon FGC. And he suggests that investors who seem, what he was talking about, clearly there was an ongoing strategy to target non-sophisticated investors and classify them as sophisticated investors in order to illegally raise funds for ventures that suit the capital raisers, including with Falcon FGC, having a financial interest in these ventures as well. This shows that Falcon FGC is in partnership and structuring payment arrangements of secret commissions dressed up in profit sharing to the sales group to hide this away from the investors and not disclose in the PDF, which is disclosure form. These activities show strong intent of this illegal activity, and this activity is now systemic with the makeup of Falcon FGC. This is the same fund and players that I made the original complaint to report these activities, including stating that Falcon FGC is the key enabler beneficiary of these illegal strategies. Now, what is interesting about that, Madam Deputy Speaker, is later Falcon FGC, or what was associated, First Shield and Guardian, they basically stole $1.2 billion out of people's super funds. They lost, well, if they didn't steal it, then they just lost it. We have people, and I've been meeting them, whose lives have been turned upside down by the loss of money. They have basically been a teacher all their life, they've worked all their life, they've gone to get their super. It's not that some of it's gone, it's all gone. It's all gone. And I think there's a role, obviously, for Minister Molino to clearly, during this whole days, I've never had, the last weeks, any explanation about what's going on with these people. We've got Macquarie Bank, who, to their credit, have covered the shield amounts that were lost, stolen, misappropriated, whatever, but only from their Macquarie Bank platform. We have other issues. We have people in self-managed super funds. We've got to find out if the minister, under Section 23 of the SIS Act, can deal with the self-managed super fund losses of, I think, about $17 million in Shield and $100 million in First Guardian. The minister still has to clearly catch up and pay attention to such people as Melinda Keys. I've been speaking to people such as Peter Spencer Franks. He lost over $1 million. It's gone, just taken. And what that means as we go into Christmas, we're having issues that some of these fund holders are, unfortunately, at the edge of suicide, because they're going into Christmas with the realisation that all their savings are gone and they're going to be working for as long as they can stand upright. There is no other alternative for them. They have no money. They have to sell their house. It is incumbent upon the Minister, Minister Molino, to come to the dispatch box and give a statement to this House about exactly what is going on. Now, I know he's lately been in communication with Melinda. He's supposed to get back to her. I speak, just so the Minister knows, I speak to her regularly, and what we want is a resolution on this. There's money that's just wandered overseas. ASIC should have been over this. ASIC should have been across this. They're approved. There's got to be some foresight. People on the way through are collecting commissions on this. In the investigation into this, the people who are basically the hawkers for the money, organisations such as Empire Wealth Group Australia, or I know, with an Australian Super Compare Proprietary Limited, Director Osama Sood, Atlas Marketing, Indigo Group, Notch Up, Lion and Horn, they'd go out and ring people up, basically cold call them and say, oh yeah, well, you know, you should invest, and they'd get their money, and then they'll get the money off to Future Capital First Guardian or off to Shield Master Funds. And obviously they didn't do it for nothing. They would have collected a commission. But we're investigating the hawkers and not the actual funds. The funds must have known who these people were. They were recommending them this business. So we should be investigating the funds, and we should be clearly spelling out the responsibilities that the government has, because it's government legislation that makes you invest in super. And it's ASIC run by the government that has oversight of the potential oversight of how these super funds work. And when we're discussing this Treasury Laws Amendment, we, at the same time where the Minister is presiding over this, he should be telling us exactly when these people are going to get their money back. It was amazing. So there's been warnings about this back to 2022. We had to wait till 2024, when they became basically insolvent, to find out that what they were warned about 2 years later is no longer there, and it's still not there now. So February 24 is when I think it was Shield went into liquidation, but 2022 was when they were warned about it. Now here's another good trick. In these super funds, they were frozen. So the investor, the person who owned the money, couldn't get it. But while it was frozen, the money was taken out of a frozen fund. That's a good trick. And disappeared. Stolen, fraudulently, misappropriated, call it what you like. How do they get it out of a frozen fund? If ASIC freezes the fund, how do they get the money out? Because it wasn't the owner of the money. It was people sitting behind it who got the money. So there are so many questions here. I said this week, there's a few things that I'm going to follow up, obviously always against intermittent power, but this is another big one. Because these people, they're just like they've been put under the mat and forgotten about. Now, the Minister is a competent person, and he's given some very loquacious speeches, and he went to Harvard, and that's great. But these people are waiting for someone to give some answers before Christmas about where they get their money back from. I put it to the Minister that under Section 23 of the SIS Act, why don't you just pay them out, and the government, as the Act prescribes, goes out and finds the money. You can keep. Whatever you catch, you keep, government. But I think the government's in a much better place to go hunting for these people's money than people such as Melinda Keys or Peter Spencer Franks or Daniel Adams or Christian Eriksen, who are talking all the time about how they deal with this. So this is the question to the Minister. Can you please give us what your remedy is for this situation? Can you please give us a timeline as when you're actually going to do this? Can you please make sure that your communications with the group goes beyond empathy to outcomes about exactly what's going to happen? Can you make sure that we clearly understand that some of these people are, unfortunately, in some instances close to suicide? And can we give a reason that you can't use Section 23 of the SIS Act? And if not, what do you intend to do? The alternative for these people is they sell off their house, they go into a rental house, and they try and live with a pension. That's rather remarkable when they've put away hundreds of thousands of dollars. In some instances, more than $1 million. So there is a resolution that can help these people out. As I said, the fact that they'll find out that their money was invested in financial tech stocks overseas and applications for AI and real estate in the United States, and the people's directors, I think David Anderson, moved money out after liquidation of First Guardian. How'd that happen? These questions remain completely unanswered, and every day we'll get Dorothy Dixes on a whole range of issues. So you can do this even in a neat way, a neat Dorothy Dix from the government to the Minister, just asking what the process is forward from here. Just on noting, the minister actually received, I think he received 4,000 emails before he decided to reply to one, which is a bit of a record. I reckon if I had 4,000 emails in my inbox, I'd probably think something was up. But it's, this is going to be an important thing. I'll just close on some of the losses some of these people had. Linda Keys, she lost $370,000. $370,000 just went. She knew something was on. She said, I can't seem to get access to what's going on with my money. Can't get it out. And then she found out it's gone. Mel Wallace, she lost $380,000. $380,000. Peter Spencer Franks lost $1.2 million. $1.2 million is gone. And how on earth would these people, where would they have had the knowledge and the attributes to find out that people were basically thieving, misappropriating, wasting their money? How could they do that? They looked on their balance and the money was there. It's just that when they went to get it, it wasn't there. Do you know, and even how perverse this is, when they go to get a pension now, the government says, you can't have it because the money's there. They said, the money's gone. You know it's gone. They said, so they can't get a pension because the balance still shows an amount that has actually been stolen and gone. Can someone please explain to me how that happens? That is the cruelest hoax that can be played on some of the most vulnerable people. So I commend this request to the House. I asked the Minister to stand and deliver to this chamber what his solution is, because there are a lot of people whose basically lives depend on it.
The debate is interrupted in accordance with Standing Order 43.